What's going on? Welcome to the POWERBOMB Podcast. This is your host, JP, and we're going to talk about last night's Monday Night Raw and my reactions to it. First off, I'm going to break this down to two categories. The men's category, so we'll get into all those storylines, and then we'll start with the women's first, though. Roxanne Perez and Kairi Sane had a match on Monday Night Raw. It was pretty decent. Raquel Rodriguez was out there. I was surprised that Kairi Sane actually got the win. I thought they would give it to Roxanne, but they went with Kairi Sane, so I had no problem with that. And then afterwards, Raquel and Roxanne started attacking Kairi, and then we get Asuka coming out for the save, and it looks like we're getting the Kabuki Warriors for Evolution to go after those tag team championships. Should be a good match. Should be a very good Evolution, too. I'm looking forward to doing a prediction show for that and a reaction show afterwards. So stay tuned for that. The segment between Bayley, Lyra, and Becky. I don't like Becky Lynch on the microphone. I may be in the minority on this one, but I do not like Becky Lynch on the microphone. I feel like she talks like... It's it's too much deep breaths from Becky. I don't like that. Then Bayley, came out, and then she was ready to talk, and then she got interrupted by Lyra. Lyra saying that she wants to get her Intercontinental Championship back, that her and Bayley were never friends. So at Evolution, it's going to be Lyra, Becky, and Bayley going after Becky's Intercontinental Championship at Evolution. So that should be very good. I love what they're doing with Lyra Valkyria. I think she is red hot right now. She is so over with the crowd. She has a great look. So looking forward to that. Now let's get into the men's stuff. The opening segment with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And so they all come out. They come out to the Burn It Down, that whole song. And they're all in the ring, and then Seth's about to speak, and Braun Breaker takes the microphone away from Seth Rollins. I was like, okay. And then Braun Breaker started to speak. Let's not have that happen again. Braun Breaker on the microphone he's not very good. He's not there yet. He talked about how he's going to be the guy to run WWE for the next 20 years, which I believe. I believe the future is 100% in Braun Breaker. There's no denying that. When I saw him in NXT, this is the guy. This is the guy WWE is going to hitch their horse to for the next 2 decades. This is the guy. But he's not the guy now. So this is going to be a very slow build to this whole babyface turn, because he will eventually turn on Seth Rollins, and he will be a babyface. And that spear will be a huge part of his gimmick. But not yet. So he talks about in his next 20 years, his idea of WWE is Sami Zayn to not be there. Talking about how Sami Zayn is trying to drip every drop of sweat out of that rag that he has left. And how he's not athletic and all that. So the promo was not very good. He got his point across, but it wasn't very good. And then Bronson Reed wants to speak. And finally we get an explanation on why Bronson Reed is with Seth Rollins. Finally we got it. It was the most half-ass answer you could possibly think of. We were just so desperate for a reason why they were together that we'll just swallow anything that makes sense. So when Bronson Reed said, Seth, I gave you 6 tsunamis, and we We earned respect for each other by that. And that's why I chose to be in this group. Because I respect Seth Rollins for taking those tsunamis. And through those tsunamis, we earned a respect. It's not the greatest answer, but it's something. So, we got that. And then Seth's talking about whatever Seth's talking about, because I've tuned out by this point. I mean, I've heard Braun Breaker speak, I've heard Bronson Reed speak, and I was just mentally checked out. And then we finally get to hear from the Oracle, Paul Heyman. And let me tell you something right now. This is the first time I don't feel Paul Heyman is a person. I don't feel he's a human being. I feel he is a scripted character, and that is not how I should want Paul Heyman to be. I should not want Paul Heyman to be a scripted character. I want Paul Heyman to be a real-life, believable human being. I felt that way with Roman Reigns in him. I felt that way about him in Punk. I felt that way about him in Brock Lesnar. I do not feel that way about him and Seth Rollins. But anyways, that segment ends. And you would think, because Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are both in their ring attire, that we would just go into the match either Bronson Reed against Jey Uso or Braun Breaker against Sami Zayn. But we don't get either of those. We go right into the Kairi Sane Roxanne Perez match, which I guess, whatever. Another men's segment, I liked the Judgment Day segment where Dominic is like, there's a cake there for Dominic saying get well soon. he said thanks for the cake, and he's like, I didn't get you a cake. Yeah, I didn't get. And JD McDonough says he didn't get him the cake. Finn Balor said he didn't get him the cake. So he looks and it says get well soon AJ, and then he looks over and AJ Styles is hiding. So I kind of thought that was funny. I think we're gearing towards them. AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam makes the most sense. I think that's where they're heading. And then we get into the match with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, and Sami's coming out to the ring, and Karrion Kross attacks him with the pipe again. I'm loving this Karrion Kross character. I am loving it. I'm loving the fact that he is geared up. He's geared towards Sami Zayn. He wants to take Sami Zayn out. He hit him with the lead pipe. The crowd went ballistic. He is so over, and he's doing great stuff. So I'm hoping Karrion Kross keeps getting this push, because I'm loving everything I'm seeing from it. And then the match happens with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Sami Zayn obviously, nursing the ribs because he just took a lead pipe to it. And Braun Breaker pretty much broke him in half with spear. Braun Breaker gets the win. I think the match went maybe about 5 minutes. So that was decent. We got Grande. I'm going to call him Grande Germanicano, because this is Ludwig Kaiser. And if you don't think it's Ludwig Kaiser, I don't know what's wrong with you. But this whole character of Grande Americano, please end it. Please end it. This is not Batman, where you could just take somebody and put it under the mask. This is feeling very Vince McMahon booking-esque. And it's not good. I don't like anything. I don't like any of it. I listen to Pro Wrestling Nation with Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray. They feel the same way. Both don't like it. Just please end this character. It's not working. As Ludwig Kaiser under a mask. We're waiting for Chad Gable to get back and be healthy. It's stupid. The whole thing is stupid. So then we get Gunther in the ring. And let me tell you something. This was probably the segment of the night. This was the segment of the night. Before, I thought it was Lyra, Becky, and Bayley. And then this segment happened with Gunther talking about Saturday night's main event and how he's going to, defeat Bill Goldberg. And then it cut to the TV. And you see this beautiful car just do a burnout, and it's Goldberg. And the place is screaming, Goldberg, Goldberg, Goldberg. Now, are they really saying Goldberg, or is WWE piping in music? Because yes, I get it, this Raw was in Providence, Rhode Island, and there is really nothing to do in Providence, Rhode Island. I mean, WWE visits there maybe like a couple times a year, so they're super excited. They'll take anything. So Goldberg showing up probably was a big moment for them. They were probably very excited, but I don't know if it was as loud as the TV made it, because that was some loud pops for Goldberg. So Goldberg walks down, gets in the ring with Gunther, and this is where things are just simple makes everything better. Just remember that. The simpler you make it, the better it is. So Gunther's standing in the ring, kind of shocked, sees Goldberg. Goldberg looks right at him, starts saying, like, you've been talking a lot of shit. And then Gunther he's about to say something on the mic, and Goldberg just ripped that shit out of his hand. And it was amazing, because usually when these things happen, Goldberg would make his way all the way around the ring, go to the timekeeper's table, grab the mic, walk in the ring, do the whole segment, but this time he just wadded it out of his hand and started talking, and I thought it was great. And then Goldberg delivered one hell of a right hand to Gunther, and I'm actually excited for this match, believe it or not, and I didn't think this segment could get me excited for the match, but it did, because it was one of the best segments on a very mediocre Raw at best night. So I loved everything about that. Gunther and Goldberg, I'm ready for Saturday night's main event. I can't wait for it. And then we get the match between Bronson Reed and Jey Uso. Jey Uso is so over. The fans absolutely love Jey Uso. The kids love him. Everybody loves him. He is a main event star. And Bronson Reed had a segment in the back where Seth Rollins was talking. Seth Rollins was talking to Braun Breaker, being like, actually Paul Heyman got a notification saying that Sami Zayn is out indefinitely from the lead pipe attack from Karrion Kross, and then the beatdown he took from Braun Breaker. So Bronson Reed is smiling, and Seth is like, what are you laughing about? Jey Uso is perfectly healthy. Well, that didn't last very long, because Bronson Reed came in the ring and absolutely just dismantled Jey Uso. So now Sami Zayn has been taken out, Jey Uso has been taken out, so this gears me to believe that the Tribal Chief, the OTC, is coming back. And if WWE really wants to be smart, I'm going to call them petty, because I think it is kind of petty. They don't consider AEW competition, but yet they're running Saturday Night's Main Event. Probably cutting into the main event of AEW All In. So, do they pull the trigger and bring Roman Reigns back to thwart the cash-in of one Seth Rollins? It makes sense. We'll see if it happens. You just took out Sami Zayn. You just took out Jey Uso. Time to bring back the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. So Bronson Reed takes care of Jey Uso. He's out for a while. And then we get the main event, which was Penta and Seth Rollins. And I was really looking forward to this, because I was like, okay, Penta's going to get a spot. He's getting a legit spot against Seth Rollins in a main event match. I'm excited. The match was okay, a little wonky. You know, it's the first time facing up against each other. A little wonky. But like I said, this was a very mediocre Raw. Not a lot to take out of it. But it's how you finish. So, Seth Rollins defeats Penta. And then Seth Rollins, has Breaker and Bronson Reed come down to take out Penta, and they're beating him up. And then Bronson Reed and Breaker, they go up the stage, and it's just Seth and Paul Heyman in the ring. And then you hear the crowd start to roar quietly. I love when this happens. I love when somebody makes a save, but they don't play any music. They just let the crowd let the crowd make the noise. So the crowd starts doing that roar type of thing, that quiet roar, like it starts in the back and then works its way. And everybody's expecting it to be CM Punk because we've heard his name chanted all night. Every time Seth Rollins is in the ring, CM Punk, CM Punk. Speaking of CM Punk, this is a great shirt. It's my two favorite things right here. It's the Chicago Cubs and CM Punk collage shirt. It's available at Pro Wrestling Tees. Go get one if you're a Punk fan and a Cubs fan, because this shirt is freaking awesome. So then the crowd's really getting into it, and it's LA Knight. And this is where I want to segue to LA Knight. LA Knight on that mid-tier was really dwindling. He was dwindling in that US Championship mix with Jacob and Dominic and, well, not Dominic, sorry, with Jacob and Santos. It was getting boring. It was getting boring, and we were wondering what was going to happen with LA Knight. Then they get him into Money in the Bank, and he loses his third straight Money in the Bank. I cannot emphasize this enough. This guy had 3 shots at Money in the Bank, and he lost both. Now he's being inserted into this storyline with Seth Rollins. This is so much needed for LA Knight, it is not even funny. LA Knight needs this type of exposure, because I got news for you. LA Knight, when he's in a main event story, or he's in a big story with big time people like a Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, he always steps up to the plate. And so far, this whole Rollins LA Knight thing has been working. This thing has been working. And I'll tell you what. At Saturday night's main event, I'm going to obviously give a prediction show and a reaction show, which will be available on YouTube. LA Knight needs this win. And I don't care how he gets it. I don't care if friggin' Roman Reigns gets involved and spears Seth Rollins out of his shoes. I don't care if Punk gives him to go to sleep when the ref's not looking. I don't care. As long as it's 1, 2, 3, and LA Knight wins that match, I don't care how it happens. He needs a win. How I would like for it to happen is for Seth Rollins to be so wrapped up in his head about, potentially cashing in later that night against Gunther Goldberg, and having that on his head, so he kind of like takes LA Knight for granted, and LA Knight hits him with a roll up 1, 2, 3, and then gets out of the ring with that look on his face like, oh, well, I just beat Seth Rollins. That would be awesome, because LA Knight needs a win. I get it. Wrestlers are over. WWE is not big on wins and losses. I get it. But LA Knight needs this one in the worst way. He needs a win against a main event star, and he needs it now. Because if LA Knight goes into this match and just loses via a friggin' curb stomp, how am I gonna stay invested in LA Knight? Like, let's look at the track record. 3 losses in Money in the Bank. A chance against Seth Rollins on Saturday night's main event in front of millions of people. And he loses. Where's the investment? Like, how am I supposed to get excited for this guy if all I know is every time I turn him on, he's going to lose? It doesn't work for me. LA Knight, for his character, needs this win. Also, Evolution's coming up, and there's going to be a big women's battle royal. And I just want to say this. There was a package with Nikki Bella, and she's talking about how she's a legend and how this is a great opportunity for her. Now she wants to win that battle royal and go to Clash in Paris and go for the women's championship. Nikki Bella as a person is probably very nice. Has her podcast. Probably a very nice person. I don't like Nikki Bella the character, and I'm going to tell you why. Every time I see the Bella twins, whether it's Brie, whether it's Nikki, I never like them. I never liked that character. I did not like Twin Magic, because the Bella twins remind me of the PG, awful, god-awful WWE era where they had that stupid, ugly Divas Championship. And I gotta tell you, I was more of a fan of Paige. I was more of a fan of AJ Lee. I was more of a fan of Natalya. I could care less about the Bella Twins. I never really thought they were good in the ring. I never really thought they were good on the mic. I honestly just thought WWE was pushing them just because they were something to look at. I never really got the hype around the Bella Twins. That's why when Nikki Bella came out as a surprise, I was like, okay, I don't care. This really doesn't do anything for me. But we're getting her at Evolution in this Women's Battle Royal. Maybe a couple other surprises. I'll tell you one thing, though. Now, I don't think WWE would do it because it wouldn't be fair to her. There's too many, legends returning, like Nikki Bella and Trish Stratus. But if WWE really wants to, give a little shot at AEW and make you kind of forget what happened to AEW All In, you bring back AJ Lee, that place is going to erupt. That could break the internet. You're talking millions and millions and hundreds of millions of views if AJ Lee returns. Just putting it out there. All right. This has been the Power Bomb. I'm JP. Enjoy the rest of your night. NXT is starting in a few minutes. I got to get upstairs and watch it. Have a good one.